I'm Don Moores and welcome to Montgomery Weekend Review. The League of Women Voters of Maryland is sponsoring the Gerrymander Meander in September. Nancy Soreng of the League is here to tell us all about it. Small businesses comprise a majority of the membership in the county's Chamber of Commerce. Ilaya Hopkins from the Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce will explain how small businesses comprise the backbone of Montgomery County's economy. Serving Together seeks to meet the needs of veterans and their families in our community. Jessica Fuchs has the details of the Peer Navigator program that individualizes the services available to these veterans and their families. Kensington Wheaton Youth Services meets the needs of teens in our community all year long, but summer programs are extra special. Karen Duffy, the new director of this great organization, has all the details. Nancy Soreng, I got to tell you, we were talking beforehand, and you showed me a map. It reminded me of the awfulness of, and why Maryland has been called the most gerrymandered district or state in the country. So why don't you show us this map?
So this is Maryland's 3rd congressional district. It is in the middle of the state, starts up in Baltimore County, winds around through Montgomery County. I believe it even goes through part of Prince George's County, Howard County, and it ends up in Annapolis.
You know, it looks like a virus. I mean, it really does. It looks like a microscopic shot of some kind of awful disease.
So when this map was presented and adopted, the League of Women Voters and Common Cause and a few other organizations were very concerned about the process and the end result of redistricting in the state of Maryland.
And
So
this came out, the 2010 census.
2010. So we worked with legislators, we had legislation, but it never got voted on. So starting in the spring, what we're trying to do is draw as much public attention to the issue as possible. We started by having a political cartoon contest. This little emblem is a piece of the cartoon. Then we had a birthday party for Elbridge Gerry. And the next thing we're doing is the Gerrymander Meander, where a crew of runners, bikers, kayakers will trace the outline of the district by running night and day from Friday, September 19th through Sunday, September 21st.
Fantastic. And the kayaks are very important because some of these points on this map are only contiguous because it's land. It's like islands or little points that you go across.
They're separated by water. Exactly.
By water.
Exactly. So that is just the supreme opposite of compact and contiguous districts, which is the standard that we would like to see, and which is actually in the Maryland Constitution for legislative districts.
Got to hold you 1 second here.
Okay.
We have a website where people can learn more about the Maryland League of Women Voters, as well as this event, and get a nice picture of this.
If you go to our website, lwvmd.org, you'll see front and center on the home page information about how to get involved with the Gerrymander Meander. We need runners. We need people to drive cars following the runners and protecting them. We need people to donate food for the runners. We need people to cheer them on and be at the beginning and the end of the race.
Okay, now, real quick, the 3rd congressional district, we have 8 congressional districts in Maryland.
Correct.
The 3rd congressional district is important to Montgomery County because it comprises a good section of Montgomery County, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Olney, Damascus, I believe Poolsville, some of the northern part of the county does contain the 3rd congressional district, which it never has in previous, well, at least in the time that I've been aware.
Okay. How much do you think that changing the borders of a congressional district impact voter turnout? Because in this last primary, the turnout was historically low.
It certainly confuses voters as far as where they go vote, because when you change the district boundary, then you change the precincts that they vote in, and people just were confused. There were a lot of people that showed up at the wrong polling place, and some people just feel like they're not going to bother.
Yeah. So does it cost money for the runners or bikers or the kayakers who want to participate in this?
No. We welcome them. There's no fee at all. In fact, they'll get a T-shirt just like this one. And so yeah, just go to our website, and if you're interested, you can send us an email. Eventually, we'll have a form on there that you can sign it up. But right now, you can certainly just send an email, and those directions are right there.
What do you hope that comes out of this event?
We hope that we draw attention from the press so that they can let the public know, and then we hope that the public becomes outraged, and lets our legislators know, shame them into doing something. Because Maryland is unique. All of the states that have adopted reforms to redistricting have the referendum capability. That means that the people can put a bill or put a question on the ballot and they can vote for it. We can't do this here. What we're asking is the people with the power to draw the districts to give up a little bit of power, and actually all we want them to is to give a little bit of guidance on how they can use that power.
Maybe the Kensington Wheaton Youth Services. I mean, you guys are pulling together all sorts of ways to bring people together. Maybe you've got some ideas for how they can.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we could share some of this information with our families, and we could have people out there running and walking and talking about this among the school. I think it's a great educational opportunity for our students and our families.
Yes, thanks a lot. I'll make sure you get a flyer.
You know, it also looks like salami. Which isn't that the essence of what politics is all about? I mean, a long.
The other thing about this is it means that one congressperson is representing these people. Just a few, right here, there's another congressperson, and there's another congressperson. And so how can you come up with a cohesive plan to help, your constituents when they're all bifurcated like that?
Now, some say that Montgomery County, by having 3 members of Congress representing us in this way, we get more power. We've only got just a minute to go, so we have to do this quick.
That's kind of a very difficult thing to measure, but I think that it does mean that those 3 Congress people aren't going to know the county as a whole, and they're not going to have as good an idea of what their constituents need.
Okay, what's final words here? Your hope. What would the best map for Maryland look like for the congressional districts?
It would have districts that are compact, meaning not all spread out, contiguous, meaning they wouldn't have to cross islands and stuff, and they would respect the political boundaries as much as possible. In other words, they wouldn't cross multiple counties. They would respect geographic boundaries as much as possible. They wouldn't cross bodies of water.
You're talking about giving people a chance to feel empowered and want to vote, want to participate.
Exactly, and so we hope that we get a lot of people at the gerrymander meander, or just come to Annapolis and welcome back the runners.
Okay, well, thanks, Nancy. Look forward to it. Ilaya, welcome back.
Thank you.
So we go from politics to business. Montgomery County small businesses, as in the lead, and you talk about this a lot, are the backbone of Montgomery County. Tell us more about that.
Well, in our chamber, the Montgomery County Chamber is an advocacy organization. So we work on issues in Annapolis, we work on issues at the local level, and we really rely on the network of our membership, the strategic partnerships we have with other local chambers and organizations to understand what's happening in the local economy. Montgomery County actually is the second largest number of small businesses that do business with the federal government. So we have a huge government contracting part of our economy. And of course, as the federal government goes through its changes and sequester, furloughs, and the downsizing in some ways, that has a real ripple effect throughout our community. And so we work hard to support our members and make sure they can be as successful as possible through getting them information they need to know and connections so that we can support a lot of the activities that are happening in our community.
Do you do anything with helping businesses transition to other kinds of, if they're not getting contracts from the federal government, how they can do something else to
Absolutely,
supplement that?
no, that's a great question because they do need to diversify, especially as the federal government is changing. And so there are lots of opportunities with the state and local governments for procurement. But then in the marketplace, we have an initiative of global trade because in the Washington metropolitan region, we've got great resources with commercial attaches, the Axiom Bank, things like that. So helping our businesses connect with those kinds of resources takes a lot of our work.
We're also sitting on the globe here. We're the most diverse, one of the most diverse districts or communities in the entire country. We've got a community college that has 190 language or countries represented. School system with 170. What does the chamber do to? How do we look into ourselves?
Well, that's an excellent point. We are really at the tip of the spear of so many things, and as you probably know, the County Council has just approved the White Oak Science City.
Before we get to White Oak Science City, a website where people, while you're talking about White Oak City Science
Sure,
City.
Our website has all this information on it, www.mcccmd.com. And we also obviously have phone numbers and faxes and ways to get in touch with us. But
keep talking. Tim,
White Oak Science Center is a huge threshold for Montgomery County. It is the center of FDA, which is the gateway to food and pharmaceuticals for the world. And here is going to be the opportunity to have major economic development in a part of the county that really hasn't seen it in recent years. So it is going to be transformational, and we are there to help our members connect with the resources at FDA through on-site visits and with other companies, because a lot of that involves teaming and partnering.
I know that you guys do a lot with different veterans in the community. Can you speak a little bit more about the veterans procurement and veterans-owned businesses?
Sure. We have a separate 501c3 foundation, the Montgomery County Chamber Foundation, which runs the Veteran Institute for Procurement. And again, with government contracting, VIP, right? Because you know, again, these men and women have really done our nation such a service that this is our opportunity to give back by having a 3-day training course that helps a veteran-owned or service-disabled business learn the ins and outs of government contracting. There's a lot of compliance, there's a lot of back office that has to happen, and it helps them be successful. It's a national program. We actually just, in the last few days, were awarded a grant from the Small Business Administration to triple the size of the program every year.
Congratulations.
So, and the best part for other organizations is veteran-owned businesses tend to hire other veterans. So it really is a win-win.
Are there opportunities for students in high school to get some education about, you know, what it takes to start your own business and how to get that up and running?
The next generation of entrepreneurs.
That's a huge part of what we do, actually, and we have among our strategic partners, our leadership circle, a pledge to hire interns, and the chamber itself has interns, because it is those hands-on skills of being in the workplace to learn what is happening, what they're interested in, and matching the investment that we've made in our K through 12 and community college and even beyond at the universities at Shady Grove. Take that investment and continue to work with those students to get them integrated as the job force of the future.
We've got about 45 seconds left. What some other things about small businesses in our community, ideas, thoughts you have about how do we make that even stronger?
Well, you touched on it, the diversity of Montgomery County and the incredible strategic assets we have here, our geography, our education system. There are so many things that are going right here, but we really need to appreciate that it is not easy to run a business. There are, in terms of lobbying and being in Annapolis, business people need to be with their customers, in their office, working with their employees. Right. And so the easier we can make it for thoughtful people to be able to succeed, the better it is for everyone in the community.
Well, what a great closing thought as we end this first half. Thanks, Ilaya. We'll be right back after these messages. And we're back. Jessica Fuchs, it is always great to have you back. Serving Together, what a great name.
Yes, it is. It's all about collaboration and partnership. We serve together to serve our veterans.
So what are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about the peer navigation that we have available and how Serving Together is working in Montgomery County to really better learn what the needs are of our veteran community.
Okay.
As I've probably said every time I've been here, Montgomery County has about 50,000 veterans, which is a lot. People don't really understand the number of veterans and service members that we have. That doesn't include the National Guard, that doesn't include the reservists, that doesn't include the wounded warriors and the active duty who are stationed at the installation in Bethesda or work at Walter Reed.
Okay.
So what we're trying to do, and what I'm really hoping to get the word out there about, is these focus groups that we're trying to do here locally in Montgomery County to give a better sense, or to get a better sense of what the needs are, how veterans consume information, how do we reach them. We know that there's no such thing as kind of trying to reach the public when you're trying to advertise or get into the community, but if I were to ask you guys right here, if you're a military family, maybe none of you would raise your hand, but if I asked if you had a father or a mother or a son or daughter who served, maybe all of your hands would go up. So we're trying to reach all of you.
So who are in the focus groups then? How are you choosing them?
Absolutely. So we broke it up into 6 different focus groups. So we have veterans, and we have of different eras. So we're saying the Korean War, World War II era veterans, Vietnam era. You do not have to serve in combat. Sometimes veterans, if they did not actually serve in combat or deploy overseas to combat, do not identify as veterans. So even if you served in combat or if you were just Vietnam era and served, maybe in Florida, your 4 years. My father was a corpsman, served in Florida for 4 years. He's a veteran. We want to see parents of veterans who are often overlooked for resources and services. They sometimes feel isolated, that they're not receiving information. So we want to reach those of veterans or active duty service members to get their feedback. What do they need? What do they want? And then caregivers. So spouses, caregivers of veterans or service members.
You bring up an interesting point. Within focus groups, you're asking questions. Isn't it? I mean, it's really easy, and you're around the whole veteran community and married to a reservist and everything else, is that it's easy to assume what others want, or to broad brush that if it's a veteran, this must be what the veteran is thinking, feeling, and it's as diverse as America is, the veteran pool.
All veterans are different, men, women, young, old. Often there's the misnomer, if you served in Iraq and Afghanistan, sometimes people call them younger veterans.
Well, let's stop at younger veterans here real quick. There's a website, and then we want to keep hearing more about that. But what's that website?
servingtogetherproject.org. Lots of information, resources, and how you can reach us by phone. So please.
We'll keep on that thought in terms of the younger versus the older veterans.
Yeah, so sometimes there is this stereotype that Iraq and Afghanistan veterans are younger, but that's not the case. I mean, oftentimes you have those who have served, especially in the Guard or Reserve, who tend to be older, maybe in their 50s. So we tend to say the newer generation of veterans.
Right.
And so you make these certain assumptions about those who have served and what they did or what they didn't do. And we as a staff, I find that sometimes we probably make those assumptions too in trying to reach the service members and veterans in Montgomery County. So these focus groups are really trying to hear, what do you need? What services are you looking for? Where geographically in Montgomery County are you seeking services? There's not a lot up county. There's stuff down county.
Yeah.
And how much do you get engaged with the families of veterans and working with the children that are maybe have moved around a lot or trying to assimilate into new schools and new communities?
Yep. So what we're all trying to do is just serve, veterans, service members, and their families. So we get a lot of calls from family members, like we were talking about, parents who have children who have served, asking what is available for them, what benefits are they eligible for. So if there is a need, if there is something that they need, we want to be able to connect them with those services, because maybe they haven't heard about something before. Maybe they could be eligible for Kensington Wheaton Youth Services, and they don't even know that down the hall from where I work is a great service that they could be eligible for.
Oftentimes I see people holding up signs saying, I'm a veteran and I'm homeless. Do you have anything that addresses that issue and helps to reach out to those people?
Well, what we try to do, because you never know if it's true or
right,
not.
Exactly.
But so what we do, we have like little business cards that have our information on it. So I know our navigator has done it before, our peer navigator.
Right.
He'll hand them a card. And
that
if you're a veteran, call us and we can help get you connected with services. We see...
Can we have those to have in our car?
Yes, a million times. Yes, absolutely. We want the people in the community to understand how they can touch and how they can help and really get the word out there about what we're doing. We consider ourselves this clearinghouse of services and existing resources, so that we can make maybe your jobs easier. Because if you get a veteran who walks through your door, you guys don't have to be the subject matter expert. Have them call us and we can connect them with those community services. So we hand out the information, we want people to know about it.
These are
That's a great way to end this segment. Call Jessica. And it's all on the website and they can come in. Listen, thank you very much for coming back, and we look forward to having you back again. Karen Duffy, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. This is your first time on the show.
It is.
We always have a special welcome for the first time. And you can only succeed because we want to hear about your organization and some of the initiatives, especially the summertime that you're doing to help our young people.
So Kensington Wheaton Youth Services serves the central part of Montgomery County through the elementary and middle schools. We have a portion that also serves some of our high schools that don't have a Linkages to Learning program. And so what we do is we provide social service support to families. We provide mental health services to students. It's an early intervention and prevention program. Right now we're celebrating a very successful summer program with many summer camps going on. We've been able to send several students to summer camps at other programs in partnership with some people in the community. We've provided some on-site summer camp opportunities. And we have done some outdoor adventure therapeutic camps to help our students with various issues.
Why any young person in the Kensington Wheaton area wouldn't want to go spend time with you all? It sounds like
I want
so
to go
much
spend
fun.
time with the camps. They're fun.
How do the kids find out about the camps, and can any student in the school avail themselves of it, or how do they qualify?
Right. So in the schools, a lot of times our referrals for services come from the guidance counselors, the school principals. They can come from parents that know about our services. We get some referrals from other agencies outside the school, but most of it is an in-house referral to our services. And then from there, we can hook them up with a variety of services, and they have access to the summer camp program.
Well, people can learn more about the summer camp program and all that stuff. There's a phone number they can call.
Sure. We're at 301-424-0656. That's our general number, and you can ask for the Kensington Wheaton Youth Services Program, and you'll be directed to our office.
Now, are your camps day camps, or do you
They are day camps. They're usually, they run the same amount of time that a school program might, so that students have something to do during the day. Summer is often a really difficult time for our families to find things to do for their students during the summer.
What happens after the summer? Is this an opportunity to connect with them in the summertime and then continue some of the program offerings you have?
Sure, it's really our way of bridging the summer. So sometimes we're working with kids that might be referred to us when the school starts again in the fall, and sometimes we're finishing up with students that we've had for the previous year. More often than not, it's just a continuation of services that we've been providing all year long, and they'll continue to be with us for the next year.
So what can the community do, like all school year long, to support the work that you guys are doing?
We run a lot of initiatives throughout the school year. Our biggest one coming up in September is a collection of school supplies. Lots of our families have difficulty providing those kinds of supplies that are needed when school starts. And it's not just notebooks and pencils and backpacks. We do get some support from the county for that. But a lot of times it's, shoes and clothes and just those things that go into going back to school, because that's such an exciting time. We also have a very large holiday giving program where we make sure that families have what they need at Thanksgiving and Christmas so that they can afford to provide their children with what every child wants at the holiday time.
Now, your typical client, teen client in this program, tell me about that child.
Our typical teen client is usually someone who's in the classroom having difficulty managing either behaviorally or academically. We find that a lot of what happens is there's something usually going on at home or something that's changed about, if they're going from middle school to high school. So our job is to step in and sort of assess the situation and provide intervention services. If we find that they need more, if the family needs support, we can provide the service to the student but also provide supports to the family. If family's having trouble making rent, for example, because the father lost their job, we have resources that we can help with.
I think about these kids maybe coming up from the Central America and this crisis on the border. I would imagine you'll be helping some of those kids.
Yes, our staff are very well skilled in working with newly immigrated families, and we have a lot of resources to help those families, whether, again, it's just hooking them up with social services in the community, providing transitional and getting them settled in their new school environment. There's a great deal of focus on that type of work.
I think the quality of our education system, K through 12 in particular, is such seen as such an asset in our community and something that is very attractive to the businesses that are here, the workforce, new businesses coming. And it seems to me that programs like yours really help bolster that and support it so that every student really can be successful in school.
Right, we take a sort of a holistic approach to working with our students, so we're working with their needs as well as the family needs, and quite often what we realize is some of the families, they need educational opportunities, they need entrepreneurial opportunities, they need those resources just to help the whole family succeed. We find that the more the family succeeds, the better the student does in the long term.
Time for one quick question, about 20 seconds left. Few months, are you glad you made this decision to
I've only been here 3 months. It feels like I've been here a long time. I settled in. I'm really, really pleased with the job. It's exciting.
Well, that's great. I hope you'll promise to come back again.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, it's great. Listen, thank you all for
Thank you.
joining me today, and thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Moores, inviting you to please join us next week at this very same time.